When I started developing this class, I kind of have a vision of 100 years ago, some salty old firefighters sitting around the table looking at each other going, we were the best generation of engine operators there ever will be. We had to stoke the boilers to keep our steam engine running, had to balance the boiler pressure, the water pressure. We had to be one with our engine, the pump and the boiler, and we had to really understand all the controls. We were what made everything run. The guys today, they have these gas engines. They just turn a throttle. They don't have to interact with the engine as much as we had to interact with our boiler. It's like they'll never have the touch and the knowledge and understanding that we did. Fast forward 100 years, and I've heard kind of the same story go down around the kitchen table today. Experienced engineers saying, today the engineers, they just don't understand the pumps and the engines like we used to. They get in, they get on fire grounds, they walk up, they hit the preset button and walk away and everything's fine. Running a pump today is more like playing a video game than it was in my day, when you had to run up the throttle, set the pressure discharge valve, make sure all the valves were set properly, had to do all this. We had more understanding and we needed to know all this in order to make our pumps run. Well, that story's true in a way. Some operators are more than happy to walk to the pump panel, hit the preset, and walk away. But not you. You want to know more. That's why you checked out this video to see what Don't Touch the Red Button by me, Ed Cullett from the Canal Fulton Fire Department, has to offer you to make you a better engineer by more and fully understanding how pump controls operate. So what just happened in that last clip? The operator panicked, closed the valve too fast. And then the engine RPMs dropped. Then the operator continued to panic because he's in RPM mode. And he's like, nothing's supposed to happen without me interacting with the controls in RPM mode. What do I do now? If he had the understanding of how the modes of operation of his pressure governor function, he would have been able to confidently rectify the situation. These are things we'll discuss in my class. What mode of operation to use when, why we use that mode of operation, and we'll go beyond what the book and the instruction tells you when and where to use it, and actually look at what happens when we're in those different modes of operations and how each one of those will affect the performance on the fire ground. We'll talk about pressure governors because that's the state of the art today, and that's where most people are going towards. But we'll also talk about some slightly mundane things. We'll talk about the hand throttle. We'll talk about the discharge relief valve. We'll talk about intake relief valves. We'll talk about regular discharge valves. The thermal relief valve. We'll look at how we set these, why we set them where we do, and how we test them. So please join me on Friday, April 28th at 10:30 for Don't Touch the Red Button, Understanding Pump Controls.